世界のみんなとつながろう Bridges across world communities.
Hello and welcome to Bridges Across World Communities, sponsored by NIA, the Nishinomiya City International Association. My name is Floyd.
And my name is Thelma.
And my name is Yoko.
The purpose of this program is to assist English-speaking residents in the Nishinomiya area by providing useful knowledge for daily living and important information for disaster prevention.
This program is broadcast on the second and fourth Saturdays of each month from 12 noon to 12:15.
And our topic for this month is learning kanji and about NIA's kanji class starting this month.
And in our disaster prevention segment, we'll talk about those disaster prevention speakers located throughout Nishinomiya.
And our guest for this month is Miss Nicole Gillis from Canada.
提供は西宮市国際交流協会です。
Happy New Year, everyone!
Yes, and welcome to our first program of 2020. We hope you'll enjoy what we have in store for you this year.
Yeah, and to start things off, our first topic of 2020 is kanji, Floyd, the Chinese characters used in written in Japanese.
That's right, but before we get into that, I have an interesting trivia question for you.
Oh, what's that?
How many people around the world do you think are currently studying Japanese?
I've never thought about it, but I guess around 250,000?
That's not so far off. According to a recent newspaper article, there are about 360,000 people in various countries around the world currently studying Japanese.
Oh, wow, and that's a lot.
Yeah.
And why are so many people learning Japanese?
It's probably because various aspects of Japanese culture like manga and anime have become so popular around the world. And there are now institutions for Japanese language education in over 142 countries.
Wow, I met several foreigners almost fluent in Japanese and who say they've never taken lessons but learned to speak Japanese just by watching anime or reading manga.
Yeah, it's amazing. I've met some of them too. I think I should try that. I'm still having a really hard time learning Japanese. In fact, here's my justification, according to the U.S. Foreign Service Institute's language difficulty rankings, Japanese is the most difficult language for native English speakers to learn.
And I would have thought Arabic languages would be more difficult, right?
Me too.
So why does the U.S. government consider Japanese so hard to learn?
One word, kanji.
Oh.
And that's our segue back to our topic.
Okay, kanji, of course. Japanese has 3 writing systems, hiragana, katakana, and kanji. And for just basic reading and writing, you need to memorize around 2,000 kanji, right?
Yeah, that's a lot. Now, not only that, but each kanji character usually has one more way of reading, more than one way of reading. Like you have the onyomi, the kunyomi. It gets really confusing. However, many foreigners still don't find it too difficult to live in Japan without being able to read or write kanji.
And why is that?
Well, in major cities, many signs and public announcements are now also in English. And, Japanese people tend to be patient and very helpful with foreigners. And many of them are able to speak at least a little bit of English.
Oh, okay. Yes, and I noticed that Japan is very foreigner-friendly. And on top of that, it's experiencing a tourism boom, right?
Yeah.
The 2020 Olympics are coming up this year.
Yes.
And the Osaka World Expo is slated for 2025. And even so, if you're going to live in Japan, I still think you should learn to read and write kanji.
I agree. If you really want to understand what's going on around you, you need to know kanji. If you want to pass higher levels of the Japanese proficiency test, you need to know kanji. And if you want to work for a Japanese company, study at a Japanese college, or send your children to a Japanese school, you need to know kanji.
Yeah, okay. So we seem to agree, if you're going to live in Japan, learn kanji.
That's right. So, can you recommend some good methods for studying kanji?
Well, a friend of mine is taking private lessons at NIA, and they use a kanji drill book that comes with the Minna no Nihongo textbook.
I know that book.
Yeah, and since the drills are directly related to the textbook content, they say it's a bit easier to learn the kanji.
And also, repeatedly writing the characters over and over and over again is definitely an important part of learning and memorizing new kanji also.
Yes, and another way to to learn kanji is by using a smartphone app. You know that? These apps can be set for various learning levels and even show the correct strokes order for writing each character.
That's kind of cool. I've even seen specialized apps that help you learn to read the kanji also.
That's right. In addition to the private lessons I mentioned earlier, NIA is starting a new group lesson class called Necessary Kanji for Daily Living in Japan.
I've heard about that. When do these lessons start?
Well, it's on a 10th week course that will be held on Wednesday from 6:30 to 8 p.m. beginning on January 15th. And the fee is 5,000 yen, and that includes the textbook.
So if any of our listeners are interested in joining these group lessons, please contact NIA as soon as possible because the class size is limited to the first 15 applicants.
Yes. And so, Floyd, do you have any personal experience you'd like to share about learning kanji?
Oh boy. When I first started learning Japanese, it was hard enough just to learn the katakana and the hiragana. I just didn't want anything to do with kanji. But after a while, as you start reading it a little more and writing in Japanese, you realize that if you're just writing all hiragana and some of the words sound the same, and so you write them, they're identical, it gets confusing. And the kanji actually simplifies things or makes things a little less confusing. But I have a long way to go yet.
Okay.
How about you? Do you have any tips?
Well, in my case, I just like remembering pictures. Yeah.
I'll have to remember that. Okay, so the general opinion seems to be kanji is difficult to learn, but if you're going to live in Japan, it's important to know and well worth the effort.
Yes, 皆さん頑張ってください.
And welcome back. And we're very happy to welcome our guest this month, Ms. Nicole Gillis from Canada.
Hi.
Welcome, Nicole.
Hi, thank you. Thanks
It's
for
really
having me.
good you're here. I'm so excited to meet you.
Oh, thank you. Me too.
No, we introduced you as coming from Canada, but we were talking earlier and you said you've lived in New York and Vancouver and Nishinomiya. So where are you from?
Well, I was born in New York and I lived there for 12 years. And then my family moved to Vancouver and we were there for 4 years. And then we moved to Japan and I was there for 3 years for high school.
Oh, did you graduate high school here?
Yes. So I went to an international school in Kobe and then I went back to Vancouver myself for university.
Oh, so that's where you are now, basically
yes.
finishing university. So it's interesting because, again, you've been to all these places, lived in these different countries. Do you have any preferences where you liked of all these places?
Honestly, I think I like Japan the most. Yep.
How's your Japanese, Nicole?
Honestly, it used to be a lot better when I was living here, but I've been in Vancouver for the past about 8 years, so I haven't had that many chances to practice. So I have forgotten a lot of it, but I started studying it again. So I'm just going to keep practicing.
So what does animal biology lead to?
Well, it can lead to many different things. You can work with agriculture, or you can work in a vet clinic, which is what I'm doing and what I'm interested in.
Is the vet clinic in Vancouver you're working at?
Yep, I'm currently working at a vet clinic in Vancouver, so it specializes in, I guess, cats. It's mainly cats and dogs, but we also accept other species.
When I think of Vancouver, I always think of like lots of raccoons and squirrels and skunks. Do you get those kinds of animals ever?
Not yet, but at another clinic I worked at, we did get a goose, a baby goose one time. But for those situations, we would kind of make sure they're stable, and then we would send them over to like a wildlife center because they specialize in that.
Do you have any preference, like cats or dogs?
It's really hard to choose. So honestly, I like both of them.
Well, are there any places here in Japan? Like the reason I'm asking if there's places in Japan where you can take animals or you can adopt animals, because when I go hiking the mountains, I see cats all the time, like on the top of mountains here.
Oh.
Is there any place people can adopt cats here or do things like that?
Yeah, actually, there's a place called Animal Refuge Kansai, or just ARC for short. And actually, I volunteered there when I was here for high school. And it's a no-kill shelter. And they have cats, they have dogs. They take in I saw they took in like geese and like other animals as well. So they have a location in like the countryside in Osaka, as well as a location in Tokyo, and also one in Sasayama.
Oh, so can people go there to adopt pets? Is that
Yeah.
Oh. What about if you have a pet you don't want? Would people go there?
Yeah, they accept those pets as well. They accept as many animals as they can.
I guess it would be nicer if you go there to adopt them and not drop
Yeah.
off your pet. So.
How do you like Japan?
Oh, I love Japan. I would like to move back in about a year. So that's why I'm studying Japanese. And I guess the main reason is because my parents live here, so I'd like to be closer to them. And just in general, I love the food. I really like the culture. So I would like to live here again.
That's great. Any particular food that you're, consider as your favorite?
It's really hard to decide, but I guess one thing that I really like that's hard to find in Canada is chawanmushi.
Oh, yeah. We're going to talk more about that food next time.
Yeah, I think, we've run out of time for this month already, but if you can join us again next month, we can talk a little more about it.
Yeah, of course.
Stay here. Okay.
Thank
Good.
you.
So,
Thank you.
Nicole. See you next month.
See you next
Thank you for
month.
having me.
防災情報です。
Thelma, do you know about Nishinomiya's Bosai speakers?
Yes, I think so. And are those the 146 disaster prevention speakers installed mostly in parks and schoolyards throughout Nishinomiya?
That's right. And do you know what they're used for?
Of course, they're used to provide emergency information during disasters, such as earthquakes, tsunamis, heavy rains, and even armed attacks.
Right again. And you may have heard the sirens and emergency announcements during the system tests, and they hold these every month on the 17th. And if you haven't heard it, or if our listeners haven't, here's a sample.
こちらは防災西宮市です。
That always makes me nervous.
Yeah, and if you can't understand the announcement or hear them clearly, don't hesitate to ask your neighbors.
And don't forget, during a disaster, you can also get the same emergency information from the TV and radio.
The important thing is to stay calm and not to panic.
So, mark your calendars, everyone. We have a big event coming up. It's the NIA Annual International Exchange Day, and it will take place on Sunday, February 9th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And it's on the 4th and 5th floors of Frente Nishinomiya, which is conveniently located in front of JR Nishinomiya Station.
Come by and enjoy the many events and shows. Well, we have a Japanese speech contest for foreign students, ethnic music, and dance performances, the International Cafe, Japanese tea and sweets, obi-tying, demonstrations, and several international NGOs with booths and much more.
Are you going, Thelma?
Yes, I'm going.
Me too. I always like this. I look forward to it every year. Now, admission to the International Exchange Day is free, so we all look forward to seeing you there.
Yes, and we hope you enjoyed today's program. And if you have any comments or requests or would like more information about upcoming NIA events, well, please call us at 0798-328680 or send an email to nia@nishi.or.jp.
提供は西宮市国際交流協会でした。
Have a great weekend, everyone.